pleasant good evening, everyone, and welcome to the 2021, I should say, ProView Network's Seating and Selection Show. That's the man, Mr. Sebastian. This is Ed. I'm Richard Tripp. Welcome. We are awaiting the brackets to come. We're going to get right to things here. We're going to get right to it. We're not even going to hesitate because we have no idea when the brackets are going to be coming our way. They're going to be coming very quickly, we understand. So we're going to get right away to the 6 points, the criteria needed to get into this year's state basketball tournament. And I know, Sebastian, you and I were talking about this earlier, but let's go through it. Number 1, your finish in regular season, district play. Number 2, head-to-head competition. 3, wins against district champions regardless of class. 4, overall record. 5, max preps, Freeman rankings. And, of course, number 6, your member school input. Sebastian, you've been dying to talk about this, my brother. Go ahead.
Let's talk about that number 3 for a second, because I think that's going to come into play a lot tonight. That wins against district champion, regardless of class. That last part, regardless of class, is going to come into play a lot tonight. And I think if there is a piece of criteria that desperately needs to be updated or modernized, it's that one. So, you know, they got a couple options. Should be wins against district champs of an equal or higher class, or they got to figure out a multiplier where if you play your same class, it counts as 1. If you play up, maybe it counts as 1.5. If you play down, it counts as half, because that's going to come into play a lot tonight as we move forward.
Ed?
Again, this criteria usually used in a longer season than it is today, so how much of that criteria is going to be used? A lot of that, especially the wins against district champions, overall record. There's teams that I went and researched 1 through 5A boys, teams that are trending, teams on the upward rise. How is that figured into all this criteria? So it's been a question for many years how criteria is used. I've got an email that my son sent to Sally Modkis a couple years ago about would pies didn't get in, about the criteria. So that thing has been a question for a long time, and in the short and condensed season, how much of that comes into play?
You know, that's exactly the thing, Sebastian, is the season itself. It has not been that normal season. These teams played 12 games. They didn't get that opportunity. Let's say, like, I'll use Sandia Prep. Marcos Rivera is with us here. You know, they didn't get that opportunity maybe to play Robertson, who won District 2 this year. So it's that weird season, man.
Well, yeah, I mean, let's put faces with what we're talking about here. Let's look at 5A boys, right? Roswell has incredibly good max preps numbers, based partly on the strength of a district win against Nimi and a district win against Artesia. Now, that's not a slight to either of those teams, because those are good basketball teams, but that's a 3A team and a 4A team. And, you know, no one else in the tournament is going to have a chance to have played Nimi. No one else is going to have a chance to have a district champion to win against Artesia. So, you know, in such a shortened season, the sample size is smaller. That really skews everything.
Ed?
That's exactly right. I think what he brings up is correct there. He mentioned Roswell, you know, their dude Barola, 8-2 and 8-2. They did beat Artesia. They have a loss to Cleveland. They beat Hobbs at Hobbs. A loss to Carlsbad, whose program has been shut down due to COVID-19. So there's things to consider as far as all. And again, the NMAA, Sally Modkis, Dusty Young, they do a great job. We know that. And there's things to consider that maybe aren't considered, you know, in a condensed season rather than a longer season, a 25-game season. So there's so many things, as we mentioned, in the 6 criteria points that we have up on the screen that come into play.
One more, Richard. Look at 4A. If you compare Artesia and Del Norte at the top of 4A, Artesia has a win against a district champ. It's Nimi again. Well, I don't want it to sound like we're picking on Nimi, but it's Nimi. Del Norte has a win against Atrisco, who's tied for the top of their district, right? Those shouldn't weigh the same.
Well, I understand. Do we have a bracket up ready to go, guys, or we're working on it? Okay. Anyway, so let's continue talking about the 6 points, because that's always the thing. And, Ed, you brought up a good point. You know, the NMA, this is not easy.
Right.
You know, they probably started, I think, like at 4 o'clock this afternoon. They're just getting finished now. They have to weigh everything they have, who played who. Of course, district finish, very, very important. In a normal year, you can say 3 teams, possibly 4 out of a district. This year, maybe 2. And remember one thing, we always got to mention this also. District champs automatically qualify. It does not mean they get a home game. And then this year is a little bit different also, because just like in volleyball and other sports, soccer, where depending on travel, that's going to pay. That's going to play big where a team plays. So we have to, just because, for example, you get a 1 seed, if you're from the South, but yet you play that 8 from the North or East West, whatever you want to call it, depending on travel, you could end up playing in a neutral gym, Seabass.
That's certainly a possibility. There's a lot of weird possibilities.
Yeah.
But when it comes down to it, the tournament this year, you're going to think about the last team in is going to be a good enough basketball team that in a normal year would have had a home game.
Mm-hmm. Ed,
16 teams tournament back in the day, right? We took 16 teams starting in what year? I talked to Ernie Padilla. He used to play for Santa Fe. You know Ernie Padilla.
Oh, very
Back
well.
in the day, it used to be 8 teams anyway, right?
Right.
So now, so for some, a lot of people remember that when it was 8, it was 16. This is a totally different season, a totally different playoff form. It's still the same criteria. But again, the points made here about the ifs and buts and ands, a lot of things have to be figured out as far as who plays where. You made a good point there. Highland Athletic Director John Barnhill said that to me the other night when I was at Highland. He didn't know if they were going to get a home game and they're district champs. He thought they might be on the road. It's not to say that that's going to happen, but that's what his opinion was, that Highland might be on the road even though they're district champs. So a lot of things to consider.
That's one of the unusual things about this year as well, Sebastian, is that you made a good point. I mean, there are teams where before they were that 17, 18 that were praying for that 16. Now you have that 9, 10 that's saying we're just as good, if not better, than some of those other teams ahead of them. And now the criteria and all this, of course, you're looking at it going, well, we're just as good. So we have a lot of teams, man.
Well, and we turn to girls for that in the condensed season.
Mm-hmm.
You take a look at El Dorado's district. El Dorado, La Cueva, Farmington, Sandia. Those are 4 of the top probably 10 teams. There's no way they're going to get all 4 in.
Ed?
That's absolutely true, and that's the frustration. Again, we've got Sandia Prep head coach Marcos Rivera here, and he's not sure where his team's going to fall, and they've had a very good season. But again, the criteria that he mentioned, do they get a number 1? Are they a number 3 or 2? And no one knows, and that's the unknown. What we're going to see maybe the brackets here in a second, and when they come out. But it's even in a 16-game tournament, a 16-team tournament, every year there's question marks, right? Well, how come we're this? How come we're that? I know when Marcos Rivera was at St. Pius, Coach Segura in St. Pius sometimes felt, right, that he's not on camera, but he's shaking his head yes, in an affirmative way, that they didn't, right. So there's questions regardless, right? Again, Sally Marquez and the NMAA have a very hard job to figure things out. We're just glad the season started. It is going on. And it's going on until May, so that's kind of another unusual thing.
Quickly, we got to go to break.
Yeah, you look at the bubble there with Santa Fe possibly being on the bubble, right? They're the number 9 team in Max Preps. They had a nice season. They have a district champ win against Espanola, but Carlsbad was able to stockpile wins against Artesia, Silver, and Roswell. So the criteria, again, in a smaller sample size, like Santa Fe, I think they passed the eye test, right? Yep. Coach Cole shouldn't be penalized for playing Cleveland this year when he could have easily gone out and, like in days past at Santa Fe, just schedule Jameis.
Right.
Just schedule St. Mike's. Just schedule Pecos.
But in a longer season, you would do that, right? In a longer season, you're going to schedule a few teams that you think you might be able to beat. So, no, good point.
Okay,
good point.
guys, we're going to take our first break. We got a whole lot more to go, including the brackets. Stay right with us, and don't forget to send us those watch party pics as well. We're coming right back with the ProView bracket breakdown right after this.
Jeff Symbieta, JJ Buck. Mike, Josh produces for you today over on the ProView Network side, where you can watch the show worldwide on ProViewNetworks.com or statewide at Comcast Channel 26.
Hey, welcome to the Steve Davis Show.
Good morning and welcome to Sports Desk Live on Comcast Channel 26.
Welcome to The Point with Nick Rich.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to episode 10, America Talking Out.
I'm Pastor Flora Padilla of Mending Broken Hearts.
Welcome to Henry T. Game Face Live, Comcast 26, and Big Bad ProView Network.
Often imitated, never duplicated. Welcome to Local Focus with Sebastian Noel.
Welcome, sports fans. It's that time of the week again. You are watching the Weekly Rundown.
Hey, welcome to Red Menace TV here on ProView Network.
Hello, I'm Steve Davis. You are watching Public Access TV.
For your business or your home, Valley Fence stands alone. We're number 1 in New Mexico for a reason. It's the best fence you can own. Proudly serving
Pet Emporium, your pet's second best friend. Visit clarkspet.com.
Dream Style Roofing tops them all. When your roof's worn out and needs to be replaced, we're gonna do it right, put a smile on your face. They're at home, things are looking up when you get your roof done by someone you can trust. Dream Style, a company name that's been around forever. No one does it better. You need a new roof, you know who to call. Dream Style Roofing tops them all.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
High school sports are back. You can watch every ProView Network broadcast online on the NFHS network. Every moment from every game from every sport, including all NMAA state championship games. Get your monthly pass now. Just go to ProViewNetworks.com, click on the NFHS logo, and sign up today. Watch New Mexico's best.
Your surprisingly great rates? Contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
A rogue virus, no jobs, sky-high tuition debt. Life is trying to put our generation on the sidelines. But we refuse to just sit back and watch it pass us by. Instead, watch us fly ahead. Watch us overcome anything. Watch us rise. Watch us change our world. Watch us become the next greatest generation.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Welcome back, everybody, to the ProView Bracket Breakdown. Richard Treb. We got Aaron and JJ with us. The reason we're kind of breaking up is because, well, Aaron was kind of singing the Frontier Restaurant theme song.
I've only seen it 1,000 times, so.
So that was cool. But anyway, guys, before we get to the brackets, and by the way, the first set of brackets are in. The 1A and 2A girls are in. First, want to give a couple of shout-outs. And watching is Monte del Sol. They're eating at Dion's over in Santa Fe, Frank Casals. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Good luck to you guys. Also, we have another one coming up, the Escalante Lady Lobos. I had the chance to see this team play earlier, and watch out. That's all I'm going to say about this group. Watch out. They're well coached, well disciplined, great, fundamentally sound. Gentlemen, are you guys ready?
I'm always ready.
Aaron's always ready. JJ, you notice the Lobo shirt here, the voice of the Lady Lobos, man. Congratulations. You guys done a good job this year, brother. I want to congratulate both of you. You guys did a great job. Okay, here we go. Are we ready? We got our three caballeros in the booth ready to put those brackets up. We got the 1A girls bracket, and Roy Mosquito comes in as the number 1 overall seed, and their first round opponent will be Evangel Oak Grove. The 5-4 matchup is Animas taking on Alamo Navajo. Melrose, the number 3, the Lady Buffs, will take on Gateway Christian. Something tells me they know each other. And the 7-2 matchup, Rama and Fort Sumner. Gentlemen, we'll start with you, JJ. What do you think?
I think when you look at 1A, there were a lot of challenges with teams that did not play and then others not playing a lot of games in district. So, we knew this year was going to be odd, but even more so. But overall, the teams that got the top seeds are the best teams overall in 1A.
Aaron?
Well, I mean, I look at, obviously, Rama taking that 7 seed over, because they won yesterday over Pine Hill, or was it today? Either way, that's a big kind of stunner. So Pine Hill knocked out of the tournament, and just to echo what JJ was saying, you know, there's only 8 seeds in it, so every district counts, and there's 7 districts in single A. So that means there's only one at large, and that one at large, you know, that goes where it belongs. Melrose, I believe, taking that at large. When there's a couple of teams in this bracket that probably aren't the best, maybe, but they're still in it.
It's one of those things where we said at the top, district champ automatically in. No guarantee of a home game, just in. So that leaves one at large that, you know, you were talking about, Aaron. But JJ, as you kind of mentioned too, I'm looking at that 6-3 matchup because, like I said, something tells me they know each other very well. Melrose, I believe, is the defending state champs. You know, they got it going on down there. Great matchups this early first round.
Yeah, absolutely. Melrose, you know, they have the experience in this team. You know, this year, 10-1 overall, 8-1 in district, scoring 50 points per game. Opponents only scoring 36 points per game against them. And you know, for Gateway Christian, it was one of the challenging districts. They only played 3 district games, but they went undefeated. And in those games, they were scoring 48 points, only giving up 25 points per game. So the thing to look at is they did play Melrose, and it was only a 5-point loss for Gateway Christian.
Aaron, you want to mention something?
Yeah, so when we look at how this is set up, so Roy Mosquito takes on Evangel Christian and Animas and Alamo Navajo. If Animas is able to pull off the, if you want to call that an upset, Roy Mosquito and Animas faced off last year, and it was Roy Mosquito who knocked Animas out. So we could potentially be seeing a rematch from last year's tournament coming out on this bracket, even though we have this kind of truncated tournament.
I don't see any neutral court, by the way, between Melrose and Gateway Christian. I don't see anything, no travel restrictions there, but I'm just kind of saying. Gentlemen, are you ready for the 2A girls bracket?
Absolutely.
Let's get on with it. 2A girls, who would have thunk? The Pecos Lady Panthers coming as the #1 overall seed. They'll take on the Rehoboth, the Lady Lynx. The 5-4 matchup is Tatum taking on the Lady Lobos from Escalante. The 6-3 matchup, Mescalero Apache. Man, they've been fun to watch the last 2 years. Elmer Chavez at the helm. The Clayton Lady Yellow Jackets will be their opponent. I see a neutral site. And the 7-2 matchup is ATC taking on Lordsburg. JJ, we start with you.
Yeah, looking at what the Pecos Panthers done this year, outrageous. They're outscoring their opponents by 33 points per game. Just a tremendous team that is coming in on fire. And you look at, they played a lot of crossover opponents, only 5 district games for the Panthers. So they had the opportunity to play some of these other teams and had a victory over squads from other districts. So they got a taste of almost everyone that they're going to see in this tournament, and they're flying high. And you look at the other side, Tatum and Escalante, and you mentioned it that, Richard, that you saw the Lady Lobos this season, and they're a team that is scoring almost 60 points per game so they can get up and down.
Aaron?
Well, I'm glad to see Clayton sneaking in here. They got the #6 seed. They were #6 in those coaches' polls. Pecos, obviously, #1 team, tough to beat, and what we could be looking at there, a Panthers versus Mescalero rematch in the state championship. Of course, these are a different set of Panthers.
Right.
As last year it was Penasco who's not going to be in this one. The one thing I look at is ATC, Academy for Technology and Classics. They haven't lost yet this year. Obviously, a little bit easier of a district, a little bit easier of a situation. They're going to be taking on Lordsburg, who, you know, was in a much tougher district. So that's going to be a really interesting match to watch, is that ATC Lordsburg match. See who comes out on top. Can Academy for Technology and Classics pull out and show that it's not a weak division, it's a strong team that's there?
I like the way you say that. The whole word, man. I like the way you say that. You know, don't forget, like you were talking about that Pecos and Mescalero. I mean, 2 years ago, I'm losing track, 2 years, yes, when they played for the state championship. Man, what a game that was, you know, going down to the free throws, the overtime, the whole thing. Last year, of course, they met in the quarters over at Santa Ana. They developed a little bit of a rivalry, I guess you can say there. And, of course, Elmer Chavez being more of a northern guy as well, so he's kind of familiar with that kind of stuff. So Anything else that kind of sticks out, JJ?
Well, I think, you mentioned ATC. Aaron was talking about their schedule. They had a district where 2 teams did not play, only played 5 district games. And that's got to be a chip on the shoulder for that team as well, because everyone's going to be looking at that and saying you just rolled through everybody. They only gave up 17 points per game, so they're going to go in there with a ton of questions. So that team is going to want to show out that, hey, we deserve to be here, and we're going to show you what we're all about this season. And then what could be a second-round matchup if the higher seeds do hold in Mescalero, Apache, and Lordsburg. The team split the matchups this year, so it would be a fantastic semifinal.
Aaron?
I have kind of the same thought about Tatum, because Tatum had a pretty weak district that they played against, and their only non-district game was against Texaco, which was a 3-7 team. So Tatum taking on Escalante. Escalante, of course, having to play against, better teams throughout the year. So I would expect Escalante to kind of run with that one, but Tatum can kind of show that they have the stuff if they can show in that one, and then have to take on the number 1 seed Pecos, who's been just great all year long.
And you just said one of the names are Texaco. They're not in the bracket, which they're there every year. Like you said, there was just one of those years, I guess, for the Lady Wolverines. It's unusual not to see Texaco in the 2A girls bracket. But anyway, moving on. Do you guys have any thoughts about this bracket before we go to the 3A? Final thoughts about who might come out of it? Sleeper, anybody?
Go ahead, Aaron.
Mine of course, is Academy for Technology and Classics. I'll keep saying ATC's full name. If Coach Ron Drake can get these guys these ladies, really pushing, they've got a lot of youth players on the team. They're led by freshmen. Those are the primary scorers for the club. So you kind of see them right now sitting at the 7th seed, and you wonder, how did they play this year? How did they play next year? These are freshmen, so we could be seeing these girls for the next 4 years. So that's kind of a big thing. And then kind of on the other side with Escalante, their 2 losses are against Pecos and somebody that you're really familiar with, West Las Vegas. So when we look at Escalante, it's a team that has faced some tough teams, and so they're going to be ready to go for playoffs.
Yeah, I'd have my eye on Escalante. Yeah, they had a 62-47 loss to Pecos, but they're the second highest scoring team in the tournament behind Pecos. The Lobos are scoring 59.2 points per game, Pecos 60.4, so they have the scores to run with them, and so that would be one I'd watch if they get to that matchup.
Pecos versus ATC would be an interesting matchup. It kind of works out. All right, let's go to the girls 3A bracket now, and here we go. The number 1 prep, no surprise. Navajo Prep will take on Theroux. The 5-4 matchup, Sandia Prep will take on Hatch Valley. The 6-3 will be Robertson taking on Dexter. And the 2-7, my Lady Dons from West Las Vegas, the number 2 seed overall, taking on Tohatchee. So I'm staying out of this one, guys. So, Aaron?
Well, obviously Navajo Prep, best team in the state. They won last year. They beat Tohatchee, and that entire first district. Nobody's surprised. Navajo Prep is in this one. We're seeing Thoreau in this one. We're seeing Tohatchee in this one, because that is a fantastic district. It's got fantastic teams in it. I would be remiss if I didn't tell my friends in Tohatchee, congrats on getting into the bracket again, because it's tough. 8 teams, and they were able to throw 3 of the teams onto this bracket.
That's amazing. JJ?
Well, and especially to piggyback off that, being in that district, and they outscored their opponents by 40 points per game, which is unbelievable in the teams that they played, and 2 of them getting into the bracket. So that shows you how good that Eagles squad is. And then I'll go to West Las Vegas. What stands out to me, that team being 9-3 overall, is they played up. They played Bernalillo and Espanola Valley. And that is experience that you can take to this part in the season, especially the year being so condensed. And for these teams and players, they had to do a lot more in-game learning in district games that count than they've ever had to do before. So moments like that, absolutely, that coaching staff can use to move forward for situations like this, the state tournament.
Well, and it's a good point mentioning the Bernalillo Espanola, pardon me, I literally said, don't want to say that. Espanola Valley. The Bernalillo Espanola Valley games, West Las Vegas took on 2 district champions. And I know with criteria, victories over district champions are usually super important, but the fact that they have played district champions, and district champions that are in classes above them. That's going to help them so much coming into this match.
And I'll just throw it in for them that even the lower playing a team like Escalante also. And then, of course, having to play Robertson twice, that's never easy. But anyway, I'll leave it at that. Anything else, JJ?
Yeah, and just, looking at the 5-4 matchup, Sandia Prep and Hatch Valley. For Sandia Prep, it's a team that's been in some tough games. They played up a little bit. St. Pius wasn't a great matchup for them, or St. Michael's, but again, it's just that experience when you didn't have that many opportunities this year to have games like that. And that's going to be a tough game against Hatch Valley. Hatch scoring 55 points per game, Sandia Prep only scoring 41, so tempo is going to be key in that matchup.
Okay, guys, ready for the 4A?
Sorry, just want to mention one thing with the number 3 seed Dexter. So they got the 3 seed, which is good, and they're led by a really strong upper class. Torres, Cabo, Stewart, and Story. So all of them averaging over 10 points a game each, and lots of rebounds and stuff. But this year they've had a really weak schedule outside of district. I mean, all the teams they played outside of district have been 4th, 5ths in their district. So, they're coming on Robertson. Robertson had a much tougher schedule this season than Dexter. So I'm kind of interested in how that game's going to play out, just because Robertson has seen really tough teams all season long, and Dexter, it's just been a little bit easier for them.
Well, we'll find out come Monday night. Okay, gentlemen, on to the 4A bracket. And no surprise there either. Maybe a little bit of a surprise. The Lady Rams from Portales will take on the AC Silver, the 5-4 matchup. How about Highland and Gallup? That's going to be a matchup. The 6-3 matchup is Kirtland and Bernalillo, another great matchup. The 7-2 matchup is Pius taking on Espanol. You know what? We talk about it all the time. If there's always one bracket, it's like a LA earthquake waiting to happen. And this might be it. Aaron, you first.
I mean, Kirtland Central and Bernalillo, that's going to be a fantastic game to watch. Kirtland Central, they've been great all year, 9-1 on the season. Their only loss was to Gallup, but they also beat Gallup. And Gallup had, sitting on the 4 seed. That's been a really tough one for them. So that Bernalillo game, the girls play super, super physical. I've gotten a chance to watch them a few times, but for Bernalillo, the question is, it's the Juliana Aragon show. She puts up points. She puts up points, and she puts up points. And so the question for Bernalillo from game 1 until if they can make it to the state championship is how good Aragon can be.
And I think we have our first, this is what happened. St. Pius getting in Hope Christian. You look at the beginning of the week, especially in the coaches poll, Hope Christian was 7, St. Pius was 9, and St. Pius lost both their matchups to Highland in District 5. And you look at Hope Christian, they split with Bernalillo, the district champs. So that's our kind of first eye-raising moment in these brackets of the at-large teams that have got in. And also looking at Highland, dropping down to a 5 seed when they were number 1 in the coaches poll to begin the week. So I think 4A has a lot of questions in the overall bracket.
We were kind of talking about that earlier before we came on, Aaron, about, we haven't seen the 5A girls bracket. We expect pretty much the same thing, where you're looking at this thing already going, possible upset, possible. This one, like we said, with only 8 teams in it, I mean, it's possible.
It's not just possible, but not just with the fact that there's 8 teams, but the fact that a lot of these teams weren't able to play against teams all over the state. So Espanola Valley, who's the number 2, and I expect them to be really, really good because they were competitive when they played against Sioux Cleveland this year. They beat West Las Vegas and they beat Robertson, but at the same time, they have that kind of truncated. They haven't seen everybody across the state, so somebody else could pop up that they just weren't ready for them. They haven't seen this, and somebody might be faster or slower or however it works out, and they have the skill for it.
And another thing to point out is the new classifications that we see teams go into.
Right.
This has been a Las Lunas the last 3 years for a state champs. Now they're going to be competing for a 5-8 state title, so we're going to see someone else raising that 4A trophy. And that's the thing this year is some of the changes that we saw, and then you didn't necessarily have probably the preparation you'd like in some of these situations. But ultimately, looking at it overall, these are fantastic matchups, and this was definitely a deeper field in terms of selecting the final two at large.
You know, you bring up a key word before we move on. You bring up a key word, preparation, because you kind of wonder, even if boys or girls, it don't matter. I mean, some teams, they had a week of practice, and bam, you're playing 3 weeks a game. Some teams are in pods or whatever it was, but still at the end of the day, the preparation that you had to get ready game to game was almost like a middle school schedule or an AAU schedule where you had a day, or, you know, does anybody know about them, or you went to the NFHS and got what you could. So there really wasn't much to get. So you're kind of like throwing darts at a dartboard here, man, in some respects.
Well, it's got to be crazy for the schools, too, because you would have, you know, Monday or Tuesday boys, Wednesday girls,
right,
Thursday boys. So these schools are having to not just plan around all these things, but, I mean, there's so limited amount of space and time for practice. You know, you have to try and get yourself in there to get that practice, but the other team has to get some time to play, and they have to get the court ready and stuff. So there's just so many things that have affected everybody out there. And, you know, I would note Goddard, not in this one. They were a bubble team to begin with, but Portales, that #1 team, they fought off a really good Goddard team. And I think that's going to help them in this bracket as we go along, because that Goddard team pushed them all year long, and they were able to fight them off.
Okay, guys, we're ready for the big one. Here comes the 5A girls bracket. And the #1, Joe Carpenter and his ladies come in at the #1 overall seed. They'll take on Sandia. The 5-4 matchup, the Cleveland Storm and Los Lunas. That should be a great matchup. #3, Centennial will take on El Dorado. Leroy Varela, good friend of mine. Congratulations on a great, great year. Man, what you did this week was amazing. In the 7-2 matchup, La Cueva comes at #7. Lisa Villarreal and the Volcano Vista Lady Hawks. JJ.
Yeah, let's start with El Dorado. 4 games in 4 days to finish the season. 3 straight wins, beating La Cueva twice and then losing to Sandia today, 52-43. But getting into the state tournament is phenomenal, because that was tough for, you know, both the boys and girls programs, because that was something that was out of their hands. School gets shut down for 2 weeks, and you just have to deal with it. And I will say one thing that I've heard most from coaches this year talking to them is they say the student athletes have handled it better than the coaches have. They have been unbelievable with the way that they have kept their head down, kept grinding, shown up, done whatever they've had to do from pods to full team practice, and that has absolutely showed up in these games. Going back to that word preparation, where you have to pick and choose what you want to do in your game plan. And we've seen some great basketball, and I'm super excited for 5A too, because going to Los Lunas and Cleveland, this Los Lunas team has a ton of experience. The backcourt, and with seniors Mia Guest and Judo Hohola, they won 3 state titles at 4A. I watched them last night against Albuquerque High. They are fantastic, and they're going to be a problem as a 4 seed.
Well, you know, I'm looking at that 7-2 matchup, that La Cueva Volcano Vista. Obviously, La Cueva, everybody knows what they do. They've got a lot of players that have a lot of energy on the field. Jersey Jones obviously shoots well, but you've got Ottman, who made that game winner the other night. It's just a really great team, and Volcano Vista, they've got the 1-2 punch, and so the question is who can put up more points. That's 2 teams that can just put points on the board and can steal the ball, can rebound very well. So that 7-2 game is just going to be an electric one to watch.
What are you looking for?
Well, this bracket, there's so many. You look at Sandia coming in as an 8 against Hobbs, and of course Hobbs has a fantastic season, you know, scoring 64 points per game, only giving up 25. But then Vianney Cumber going to UNM. It was starting to come on late in the season, had a 41-point game this past week, so that's going to be a challenge for Hobbs, you know, when you have a go-to player that is peaking at the end of the season. And then Centennial and El Dorado. El Dorado obviously is just riding that momentum of 4 games in 4 days. And Centennial, a lot of people probably haven't been able to see him because everything was down south district play. And I was talking to a coach that said, you know what, Centennial is the real deal. And one thing that stands out is they turn you over and they score off those turnovers. So I'm excited to see that matchup between Centennial and El Dorado play out.
Excuse me. I have to get something to drink here.
Rich, you've
Sorry
been,
about that, everybody. Thank you, guys.
You've been holding that heavy weight, having to do all the talking
Well,
for the
yeah.
most part. So,
Hold on, guys.
You know what's what's going to be interesting is that Centennial, I guess, side of the bracket, because if La Cueva does pull off a win over Volcano Vista, the Metro team has to travel. Because, you know, this year, as we already talked about on this show today, the higher seed hosts. And so Metro teams generally don't do a ton of traveling. Obviously, you know, La Cueva, they have to travel to meet the teams up in Farmington, but they'll have to be traveling down south. So Centennial will have that home field advantage. So you kind of wonder how that will affect it, just kind of the change in the way brackets work this year.
Sorry about that, guys. That cough just got to me. Anyway, we're going to take a break. We got more coming up. The boys are up next. More on the ProView Network's bracket breakdown coming up.
Jeff Symbieta, JJ Buck, Micah. Josh produces for you today over on the ProView Network side, where you can watch the show worldwide on ProViewNetworks.com or statewide at Comcast Channel 26.
Hey, welcome to the Steve Davis Show.
Good morning and welcome to Sports Desk Live on Comcast Channel 26.
Welcome to The Point with Nick Rich.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to episode 10, America Talking Out.
I'm Pastor Flora Padilla of Mending Broken Hearts.
Welcome to Henry T. Game Face Live, Comcast 26, and Big Bad ProView Network.
Often imitated, never duplicated. Welcome to Local Focus with Sebastian Noel.
Welcome, sports fans. It's that time of the week again. You are watching the Weekly Rundown.
Hey, welcome to Red Menace TV here on ProView Network.
Hello, I'm Steve Davis. You are watching Public Access TV.
For your business or your home, Valley Fence stands alone. We're number one in New Mexico for a reason. It's the best fence you can own. Proudly serving New Mexico for over 50 years. At Valley Fence, the difference is clear. No fence too big, too small, or difficult. We handle them all at Valley Fence Company.
Clark's Pet Emporium, your pet's second best friend. Visit clarkspet.com.
Dream Style Roofing tops them all. When your roof's worn out and needs to be replaced, we're gonna do it right, put a smile on your face. They're at home, things are looking up when you get your roof done by someone you can trust. Dream Style, a company name that's been around forever. No one does it better. You need a new roof, you know who to call. Dream Style Roofing tops them all.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
High school sports are back. You can watch every ProView Network broadcast online on the NFHS network. Every moment from every game from every sport, including all NMAA state championship games. Get your monthly pass now. Just go to ProViewNetworks.com, click on the NFHS logo, and sign up today. Watch New Mexico's best.
For your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
A rogue virus. No jobs. Sky-high tuition debt. Life is trying to put our generation on the sidelines. But we refuse to just sit back and watch it pass us by. Instead, watch us fly ahead. Watch us overcome anything. Watch us rise. Watch us change our world. Watch us become the next greatest generation.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Welcome back, everybody, to the ProView Networks Bracket Breakdown. Richard Tripp with you, hosting the show tonight, man. And I'm joined by Ed Nunes to my left and Marcos Rivera, the head boys basketball coach at Sandia Prep, and he is anxiously awaiting to see the bracket. I know he's already seen it, but I'm just trying to build up the excitement, you know. Hey, but hey, first I want to give a couple of shout-outs to people watching. Jim Bob Marshall down in Hobbs. What's up, my man? Jim Bob watching. My good friend Manny Lucero, who I don't know if he won or lost today on the Kentucky Derby, but anyway, he's over at Buffalo Thunder right now. He's watching the show. President, CEO, executive director, whatever, of NMOT Sports. So I just want to give him some love and give him a shout out. Well, guys, we're about ready to start the Class 3. I believe we're going to start with the 3, gentlemen. 1A. Okay, we're going to work our way up. The Class 1A bracket. So here we go. This is all boys now. Magdalena comes in as the number 1 seed. They'll take on Pine Hill, the 5-4 matchup. Mesilla Valley will take on Fort Sumner House. The 3-6 is Elida taking on Evangel Christian Oak Grove. And the 7-2 matchup, Springer taking on Melrose. You know a little bit about these classes here, Marcos, you know, but what do you think? Just kind of looking at that.
Well, I haven't seen a lot of them play, but you look at number 1 Magdalena, they beat Hot Springs, who Hot Springs came in on number 2 district champion in 3A, so that's a big win for Magdalena. Obviously, anybody watched the state tournament last year, they got to the state finals and played a really good game against a really good Pecos team, but they were good last year. Now they moved down to 1A, and they're another really good team with some really talented players, and they've gone undefeated this season and got the number 1 seed. So you look at Melrose, I think Melrose is there every year. Every year Melrose is there. They come down to our camp, and they're another really good team. Well coached, good size, always right there. The other team that comes down to our tournament, usually in a normal season, in Mesilla Valley, another well coached team, very fundamental. They're always right there too. You see them in the Final Four in 1A almost every year, or 2A when they were there. So those are the teams I'm familiar with, and I think can have something to say about this bracket.
You know, Magdalena, the last couple of years, man, they just have been something special. What do you think, Ed?
Well, Magdalena, you mentioned they're the number 1 seed, but Melrose, the defending champion, Melrose 11-0, and we did the championship last year. Devin Bailey, Trace Jackson, Tate Sorgen, they've got some really good players. But Magdalena, Jordan Maribal averages 28 points a game. Joey Maribal, the coach there. They've got the number 1 seed there, but I'll tell you, when I saw Melrose last year, I was very impressed just by the size that they have. They're very well coached, very good defense. They funnel the defense into the paint where they've got the size. They'll block shots without fouling. Very impressed with Melrose. They're 11-0. Magdalena 12-0, 9-0. Those are the teams I'm most familiar with. I've seen Melrose the last 2 years, and they're the defending champs. But Magdalena, as we mentioned, the number 1 seed for this year. So it's going to be an interesting bracket for sure. And again, it looks like it could be Magdalena and Melrose, but there's some other good teams in there in that bracket as well.
especially that number 3 seed, Elida. Don't look past, even though 3 seed is a good seed, but they're another one of those teams between them and their girls basketball teams that always seem to be in the mix. They always seem to be playing on Saturday for some reason, or Friday or Saturday. So don't quite take them out of the picture yet. Anything else on the 1A bracket, Marcos?
No, looks like it should be a good one, very competitive, should be a fun one.
You mentioned Elida. They're 10-1 and 7-0. They're coached by Jared Fraze. So I think you're right. Don't sleep on them as well. And I think one of the things with that bracket there, everyone's probably thinking Magdalena and Melrose. Don't overlook Elida. You mentioned that. Look at their record, 10-1 and 7-0 in a condensed season. So you're right. Don't overlook them as well.
That's the Class 1A bracket for the boys. Let's now take a look at the Class 2A bracket. And presto. And we start off the number 1 overall. See the Lynx from Rehoboth Christian. They'll take on Monte de Sol. We saw them earlier. They sent us a picture from meeting at Dion's. Good luck to them. The 5-4 matchup. Tularosa takes on Mescalero Apache. The 6-3 matchup. Escalante, the Lobos, taking on the Panthers from Pecos, 3-time defending state champions. In the 7-2 matchup, Texaco taking on Gel. Ed?
Oh, you mentioned Texaco. You mentioned them in the girls bracket, and they're always there. They're 8-3, 5-1. They've got a very good record. They're coached by Craig Cook, and so I think that they've got a very good chance to come out of that. But if you look at Pecos, 4-time defending champion, and again, Ira Harge is gone now. They've got a new coach. He's not there anymore. So if you look at Pecos, there's somebody whose name right away jumps out at you because they're Pecos.
Right.
They've been the champion, and they've won 4 straight. So everyone's looking to beat them.
Right.
So you mentioned also Rehoboth is 11-0 and 2-0. Coached by Kevin Wires. So there's some really good teams in this bracket as well. I'm looking, and Santa Rosa, okay, they were ranked number 9, coached by Frank Ortiz. And how long has Frank Ortiz been around? I played ball against him in Eastern New Mexico, and Frank Ortiz was one tough player, but they didn't get in. But you mentioned some of the teams. Escalante, they're 10-1 and 10-0, coached by Isaac Royston. So there's some really good. Estancia, coached by the former Moriarty star Daniel Pierce. Estancia, they didn't get in, but again, this is a good bracket here. And if you look, I think Texaco and Pecos, the 4-time champion, that really jumps out at me because when you're a 4-time champion, and Coach Rivera worked with Damian Segura, they won 4 championships together. When you're the 4-time champion, everybody they have you on their schedule. You get everybody's best shot, and they did lose. Jodiah Padilla is still there at Pecos. They've got some good players still, but I think when you're the 4-time champion, you've got a kind of a circle on your back. Let's see if Pecos can finish the job there. But you mentioned the 1 seed Rehoboth Christian. They've had a good season so far.
Marcos?
You look at Rehoboth Christian; they have a win against Navajo Prep, undefeated district champion in that district in 3A. They also, they beat Bosque this week, another 3A team, undefeated, very good. They talked about 4-time state champion Pecos. They might get everybody's best shot, but they also have the winning pedigree. They know what it takes. They've been in tough games. They've practiced against, they lost some seniors. They lost their coach Hards. But when you have a winning pedigree, you expect to win, and you go out there and you play, and good things happen for them. Tularosa down from 3A, now in 2A, another team to watch. Texaco split with Pecos, always good, always got a lot of size. So, they're going to be a tough out. And obviously, I don't know a lot about JAL, but you've seen their record and the stuff they've done, and they seem to be a really good team. And the Pecos Escalante, that they're going to bring us can probably be a fun game. Northern New Mexico basketball, 2 Northern New Mexico teams are going to get after it, get up and down. It's going to be high scoring, pressing, and that, I come from Northern New Mexico, and that's the kind of basketball they like to play.
And of course, Pecos on a normal year would have played in the Capital City tournament, played those teams. They would have played at the Stu Clark up in Vegas. Their schedule, like you guys were kind of talking about, had already, was already out of this world for their class. So here they are now on a 12-game schedule. Did it hurt them? We don't know. They're not used to that, but whatever the case is,
I did want to mention
is on their back, as you said.
I didn't want to interrupt Rich, but the new coach over there is Arthur Gonzalez, taking over for Ira Harge Jr., who went to Espanola Valley as the athletic director there. And Arthur Gonzalez has a tall task. But remember, before Ira Harge won a championship there, it had been since 1965, since Pecos won one, and they've won 4 in a row. So, again, it's tough to win, Coach. You know that better than anybody. It's
Yep.
very tough to win even one.
Yes,
you win
sir.
4 in a row, it's pretty good.
But like Coach Rivera said, they have the pedigree.
Yes.
All right, that's the Class 2A. We move on to the Class 3A boys bracket. Here it is. The number 1 overall seed is Robertson. And Manny Romero, congratulations on a great job this year. You'll take on number 8, the Cobre Indians. The 5-4 matchup should be a good one. The Horsemen from St. Michael's taking on Sandia Prep. A couple of great coaches in that one. Marcos Rivera also, and he's going against David Rodriguez. Should be a great matchup. The 3, Navajo Prep taking on Nimi. And the 7-2 matchup, the Rue and Hot Springs. Marcos, I'm going to let you go first.
Well, I think this came out exactly as we expected, as I expected with the criteria. Robertson undefeated, number 1 in Max Preps. They got the number 1 seed. Very good team. Like you said, Coach Romero has a good team, some really good guards. They very well deserve number 1 seed. And then they're going to play Cobre, who came out second in the district down south. You look at they have a district champion win against Silver, so I think that might have got them over the top. They got them into the tournament. You look at the 2 seed Hot Springs. Hot Springs had a COVID issue. They go play 6 games this week, Monday through Saturday. They go 6-0. You know, very well deserved number 2 seed. Coach Bean does a great job down there. Those kids really play hard. He's got a really good guard in Lukeman and Salcedo, 2 really good players, and play really hard, play really good defense. They play Theroux. I don't know a lot about Theroux, but I know they came in second in Navajo Prep District. You go to Navajo Prep, 11-1. Got the 3 seed. They're playing another Southern district champion in Nimi, who played a tough schedule. They played Artesia. They played, I think, Carlsbad. They had a pretty good out-of-district schedule, and they won their district. So that's a matchup there, Northwest versus the South. And then you look at our matchup. We're going to play St. Mike's. Right down the road, another private school. Very good team. Coach Rodriguez does a good job. They got some really good players. They came in second in District 2 with Robertson. They played a lot of close games. We were actually scheduled to play them today, and the game just wasn't able to happen because of scheduling and COVID. So we're going to get them in the first round. First round of the tournament. I think it's this bracket came out exactly as we expected with the criteria. And I'd like to give a shout out to my team out there. I got 8 seniors, some really good, really great guys, and they're having a watch party. So I'd like to shout out to my team out there watching. Also, the last thing, I'd like to thank Sally Marquez and the NMA. I know there's going to be people upset, if their team didn't get in. But at the turn of the year, in January, we didn't know if we were going to have a season. Right. I had 8 seniors, and I was worried. My kids wouldn't be able to finish their high school career. So, as hard as it is for some people that didn't get in, and maybe the seed didn't go the way somebody wanted, I'm thankful to the NMA that we get this chance. No matter what, we got a chance to play. And thank you to the NMA. Thank you to everyone that made this possible. And we're going to go out there and just enjoy the ride and enjoy this week of basketball.
Well said, my friend. Well said. Ed?
You mentioned the first round matchup, and Coach Rivera and I have known each other a long time. Sandia Prep 9-1, 7-0, wins against St. Pius, lost 3 in Rancho. They beat Bosque twice, beat Cuba twice. You got some veteran players there, Cooper McWilliams, Jackson Price, Sam Henderson. Got some battle-tested guys that have been in the state tournament. If you look at St. Mike's and longtime coach David Rodriguez, he's been there a long time, and they had some good victories as well. They're 7-2 and 6-2. I think that's a very good first-round matchup. I don't want to go on too long. Robertson and Cobre is, again, Robertson coached by Emmanuel Romero. He's also the former head man at Mora. So they're 12-0 and 8-0, and that's going to be a good first-round matchup. You mentioned with Cobre, 8-3 and 3-2. And you mentioned, too, Coach, about Hot Springs, 10-1 and 5-0, and having to play 6 games in 6 days. It's affected everybody as far as the COVID-19 thing, and you're right. We should be thankful that we did get a season. We are. I'm sure the kids are thankful. You're thankful. It didn't look like it was going to happen. So, Rich, I got a lot of info, but that's my first glance at that. And I think, Coach Rivera, you predicted number 4, and you were absolutely 100% right, sir.
I never saw it.
Yeah.
I never did.
Coach was right on time.
He was right on target.
They have the 6 criteria points, and if you look at them, that's where we ended up.
Anyway, so that's the Class 3A. We wish Coach Rivera, we wish all the teams the best of luck. I want to give a shout out to the Cardinals up at Robertson, up in my hometown, Las Vegas, New Mexico. Good luck, gentlemen. And what we're going to do now is we're going to step aside and take a break. We got the 4 and the 5A coming up. More on the ProView bracket breakdown coming up.
Jeff Symbieta, JJ Buck. Micah, Josh produces for you today over on the ProView Network side, where you can watch the show worldwide on ProViewNetworks.com or statewide at Comcast Channel 26.
Hey, welcome to the Steve Davis Show.
Good morning and welcome to Sports Desk Live on Comcast Channel 26.
Welcome to The Point with Nick Rich.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to episode 10, America Talking Out.
I'm Pastor Flora Padilla of Mending Broken Hearts.
Welcome to Henry T. Game Face Live, Comcast 26, and Big Bad ProView Network.
Often imitated, never duplicated. Welcome to Local Focus with Sebastian Noel.
Welcome, sports fans. It's that time of the week again. You are watching the Weekly Rundown.
Hey, welcome to Red Menace TV here on ProView Network.
Hello, I'm Steve Davis. You are watching Public Access TV.
For your business or your home, Valley Fence stands alone. We're number one in New Mexico for a reason. It's the best fence you can own. Proudly serving New Mexico for over 50 years. At Valley Fence, the difference is clear. No fence too big, too small, or difficult. We handle them all at Valley Fence Company.
Clark's Pet Emporium, your pet's second best friend. Visit clarkspet.com.
Dream style roofing tops them all. When your roof's worn out and needs to be replaced, we're gonna do it right, put a smile on your face. They're at home, things are looking up when you get your roof done by someone you can trust. Dream Style, a company name that's been around forever. No one does it better. You need a new roof, you know who to call. Dream Style Roofing tops them all.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
High school sports are back. You can watch every ProView Network broadcast online on the NFHS network. Every moment from every game from every sport. This logo and sign up today. Watch New Mexico's best.
Welcome back, everybody, to the ProView Network Bracket Breakdown Show. Richard Tripp and Nunez, Sebastian now back with you. And gentlemen, we're going to go right to the Class 4A bracket because we have, by the way, before we do that, we have three special guests standing by. Just want to let you know. We have Shawnee Menace standing by. We have Coach William Benjamin standing by, and Lisa Villarreal standing by. So you don't want to miss that.
Can I do a classic Richard Tripp shout out?
Okay.
I want to shout out the folks at Santa Fe Graphics that made this long live JB tie for me.
Amen.
So thanks for them.
That's awesome. Show it again, man.
Yeah, it came out incredible. So thanks to the folks at Santa Fe Graphics for that.
That's sweet. That's awesome, dude. All right, let's get to the Class 4A boys bracket. Gentlemen, drum roll, please. And there it is, right on cue. Any surprises? Number 1, Del Norte takes on number 8, Highland. The 5-4 matchup, Kirtland Central takes on Espanola Valley. The 6-3, Bernalillo Gallup. In the 7-2, Silver Artesia will flip a coin.
Go ahead. Go let them go.
Well, you know, when the Knights come marching in at number 1, a well-deserved number 1 seed for Jerron McIntosh and the boys there. It was kind of up in the air, but when you have three guys, Shane Doma-Sanchez, Judah Casaus, and Feathers Valencia, and they combine for over 50 points out of the starting lineup, you start the game with a pretty good advantage. And then you just kind of have to chip in from there. And they got a great collection of guys. Josh Tejas plays great defense. Noah Garcia, the bench has been performing well. This is a well-deserved number 1 seed. The first number 1 seed since Scott Bamforth. I did just get a text from Jerron McIntosh. He said his guys are happy. Now they got to get back to work and focus on beating a very good Highland team that knocked them out of the tournament last year.
If anybody knows Highland, you do.
Well, you know, I wanted to say to Sebastian's point, Del Norte 9-1, 7-1. They average 66.9 points per game. He mentioned Shane Doma Sanchez, 26.4 points per game. Judah Casals, 14.3 points per game. Feathers Valencia, 9.0 points per game. So when he mentioned that, and also the big man Xavier Evans, he only averages 1.6 points per game. But as far as an inside presence, that guy gets 6.5 rebounds and plays great post defense. Wins against Valley, Hope, and Cibola, very close calls against Hope and Cibola to end the season. But they found a way to win against Hope. They won in overtime, and they were challenged. But I think it's good to have some adversity, and I think Coach Jimenez would probably agree with that. Have some adversity to see where we're at. How do we respond? So Del Norte and Sebastian's absolutely right. A well-deserved number 1 seed. And I want to go to Highland against the number 8 seed Highland. Now, Highland, they'll be without center Jose Murillo. He averaged 20 points and 15 rebounds, exceeded the number of club games, so he's gone. He's gone from the lineup, and they'll miss him. But I got to say, I saw them play Valencia, and there were some kids that grew up in a hurry. Gustavo Del Toro played well. Alexis Dominguez, Fernando Hernandez. I thought all 3 of them played very well against Valencia. They're getting opportunities where maybe they didn't get opportunities before. So Darius Richardson brings some physical toughness off the bench. It's a tough matchup for Highland, but the Hornets, the district champions, another great season for Justin Woody, who was the district coach of the year.
I don't think you can replace 20 and 15. That's tough, man.
Yeah.
And Del Norte starts with an advantage. I think they have arguably the best offensive player in the district with Shane Doma Sanchez and the best defensive player with Judah Casals. And so they start with a huge advantage there. Artesia, that's a good ball club. Not really anybody that stands out, but it's a team. It's a team effort down there. And Coach Mondragon, they do a really good job. They have some size. I do think, I don't want to go full Bill Walton here, but the champion has to come out of the district of champions, right? And that's Del Norte. So Del Norte, Highland, Bernalillo, that all in the same district, that shows you how good that district was. And do not count Bernalillo out, because if they get you in a bully ball game where they can use their football players' size with Aiden Madrid and those guys and start banging you around, they can beat almost anybody.
I just want to give a quick shout out to Mikey Mondragon down in Artesia, by the way, with a fantastic job he's done this year. Know Mike very well for many years. I know he's excited. I know he's pumped. He has a tough opponent in Silver, but congratulations, Mike. Job well done.
Rich, if that's the district of champions, then which one is the truck stop district?
I ain't going there.
as Big Red would say, right?
Not going there. Anything else stand out, Ed?
Well, Gallup 9-1 and 8-1. The only loss they had to Kirtland, but they also beat Kirtland. They beat Shiprock twice, 8 wins in a row, trending upward. So their head coach is Joshua Dunlap. So I think, but if you look at Terry Darnell, he's won 2 championships at Bernalillo. Terry is a great coach, also acting as interim superintendent. So Coach Darnell's been very busy, but he wanted to make sure he finished the season in coaching the Spartans. And they've got Aiden Madrid. You know, they've got some good players. They've got Raymond Aragon, Chase Darnell. They beat Del Norte. They also lost to Del Norte. They beat Hope twice. They won 8 out of their last 9. So they're trending upward. So I think that's good. I think that's going to be a good matchup too. In the end, we talked about it at the beginning of the show. Del Norte was given this 1 seed because they played up. They played Atrisco. Atrisco, obviously in a higher classification, they ended up beating Atrisco. It pays to play up. The tough schedule got rewarded.
Well, you know, we're talking about Del Norte High. Hey, how about that number 3 seed there? The Bengals from Gallup. I mean, we don't know much about them.
Right.
I've seen them on NFHS a couple of times. Very well, very, very solid team. You got to be solid to get the number 3 seed. That is also a very good matchup, by the way, Bernalillo and Gallup. Obviously, Terry's going to have to make the trek up I-40 to get there, like you said, but that's going to be a very interesting matchup. How do you kind of see it, the whole thing?
Well, that's what a contrast in styles. Bernalillo is going to want to grind that out and play bully ball, like I said. Gallup's probably not too interested in playing that style, but I could see that going either way. Maybe the home court is the advantage there. I don't know, but how weird is this seeing a 4A bracket without Valley and without Hope?
Yep, exactly.
We mentioned though, Bernalillo's won 8 of the last 9, and Artesia is also 6 wins in a row. So they're both trending upward. That is going to be an interesting matchup. But don't forget about the 5-4 with the Kirtland Central and Espanola Valley. I want to mention Gabe Martinez out there at Espanola Valley, 9-3, 8-0 district losses to Santa Fe, Cleveland, and Clovis all in 5A. Beat Los Alamos. They've won 8 wins. They've won 8 wins in a row. So Gabe Martinez has done a good job out there at Espanola Valley as well.
And now that fans are allowed into, of course, most venues, you would think, okay, the Espanola Valley crowd, we know them. It's that typical northern New Mexico crowd. But Kirtland fans, you know, they're used to that.
Right.
So obviously the noise and all that won't be an impact at all on them at all. But if you guys really quick had to look at this bracket, leave out the 1 and 2, who do you kind of see maybe coming out of it? Has a shot.
I think Bernalillo possibly there, out of the District of Champions, could come out of there if they can, use their size. I do want to mention, an injury that really impacted this classification is probably the injury to Quinn Adazuna at Taos. That could have changed things.
I agree. Ed?
Well, he mentioned Taos and Hernando Chavez, the coach there, and they were 3-2 their last 5, but I think a lot of it had to do with that injury. They don't get in. So I think coming out, and you mentioned take out the number 1. Ortiz is looking pretty good. They could come out of that bracket, but this could be Terry Darnell's last season coaching if he's going to be the superintendent next year. And just for that kind of favorite there, I might favor Coach Darnell and the Spartans coming out of that side of the bracket there and maybe facing, and we'll see what happens to that number 8. Del Norte, again, it's a good point about playing at Trisco and beating them. They beat them 54-50, and they did get rewarded for it, and they should have. They lost 1 game, and they lost by 1 point. They've had a good season. They're with those 2 guards there, with Casals and Doma Sanchez and all the other players that they bring, they're going to be they're very well coached. Jerron McIntosh is one of the best coaches for sure in the state. So that's going to be a tough out for anybody there if you have to face the Knights.
A couple things. Abdul Qais is a player at Taos. I beg your pardons. I misspoke there, not Quinn. And yeah, we started the year where we said, hey, Shane and Judah, they might be the best 2 guards in 4A. Now a lot of people are dropping that last part in 4A. They're just saying that might be the best backcourt around.
One last note on Bernal-Lee. I'll say this about Terry. We've known him for 1,000 years or so, but if we're talking about the Kentucky Derby during the break, and Terry Darnell, he's a horse guy. We know that, as most basketball coaches are. I don't understand it, but anyway, but if anybody
they have
knows
that large disposable income.
Yes,
that's what it
that's
is.
What it, I
that's
guess.
what it
They're
is.
the highest paid coaches in schools. But you look at Terry Darnell, speaking of the Kentucky Derby, he's just one of those coaches. He'll get the most out of his player. He coaches like a rider, like a horse rider. He's going to go to the whip, not literally, but, and do what he's got to do to push his kids as hard as he can.
Well, I'll tell you, I officiated a lot of his games, and I can tell you that's absolutely true. He'll push everybody that's on the court there, the players, the officials, the people at the score table, and I mean that with the most respect. He's a heck of a coach, and the guy hates to lose. At Tiddlywinks, he's very competitive. So I think they have a chance, if you mention somebody just as a favorite, because it might be his last season. I didn't say it would be. Maybe he's coming back, but you never know.
So.
Yeah, that's the Cinderella. There's no doubt. And then Terry has found new perspective with the superintendent duties, and I think he would love to go out on a high note.
Well, gentlemen, we're just about there. I believe we're going to go to break, if I'm not mistaken, gentlemen. We're going to go to break. We're going to come right back. We're going to do a quick switch over on the stage. We got Shawnee Menace in the house, and we got William Benjamin on deck, and Lisa Varel, and the 5A bracket coming up on the bracket breakdown.
For your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
A rogue virus. No jobs. Sky-high tuition debt. Life is trying to put our generation on the sidelines. But we refuse to just sit back and watch it pass us by. Instead, watch us fly ahead. Watch us overcome anything. Watch us rise. Watch us change our world. Watch us become the next greatest generation.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number 1. Cover it with green stuff, 1 scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network. Extreme Clean is a proud sponsor and supporter of ProView Networks and all high school sports athletics. Owner Mike McLean and Extreme Clean specialize in carpet cleaning for apartment, realty, business, and residential clients. With over 20 years experience, attention to detail and quality customer service matters. For more information, give them a call, 505-221-6440, Extreme Clean.
And welcome back, everybody, to the ProView Bracket Breakdown. Richard Tripp. That's Sebastian Noel, and this is the Cleveland High School boys basketball coach, Shawnee Menace. Coach, welcome. Are you ready? Are you excited? Are you pumped? As we called it, New Mexico Madness.
I'm ready. I think all the boys and girls in the state are ready to roll, and it's going to be a fun week for everyone.
Act surprised, okay, Sean?
Yeah, we want to see you throw up your hands. Oh, really? Did we? We made it. So we're going to get right to it. So let's put up that boys 5A bracket. Hey, everybody, here we go. Okay. The Cleveland Storm come in as the number 1 seed. They'll take on the Demons from Santa Fe High. Sandia comes in at the 5. I've seen them the last couple of games. Pretty impressed. Atrisco will be the number 4 seed. Great matchup. The 3-6 has the Las Cruces Bulldogs, the defending state champions, taking on Los Lunas. In the 7-2 matchup, Carlsbad and Roswell. Sebastian, I know what you want to talk about.
Well, first, I have been getting some texts from a few La Cueva players, and let's talk about why La Cueva was left out of this tournament and compare them to the last team in, which is Santa Fe. Max Preps, La Cueva was 10, Santa Fe was 9, so Santa Fe's +1 there. Winning percentage, La Cueva was 800, Santa Fe's 750, so now they're back to wash. District finish, they both finished second, wash. Wins against district champs, La Cueva beat Sandia, Santa Fe beat Española, still a wash. And the coaches poll must have flipped because it had Santa Fe at 8 and it had La Cueva at 5, so the final coaches poll must have flipped to Santa Fe.
You want to touch that?
Well, I actually do. So
Okay.
Santa Fe had 2 district wins because they beat Los Lunas. That counts for a district win. So that gives them 2, so that might have given them the bump.
Right.
I'm not sure, but that might have given them the bump.
And, I mean, La Cueva, God, that's a good basketball team that's not in this tournament. And we'll get back to that in a minute when we talk about some of these matchups. But I just wanted to kind of clear that up because I know a lot of La Cueva fans not very happy on the outside looking in. That's a good basketball team, Sean, that's not in the tournament.
Well, there's also 2 in our district, Volcano and Rio Rancho. I know they finished 3rd and 4th, who are not in too.
Yeah.
And it's tough. When you only get 8 teams, you know what? These final 8 teams I see right here, anybody 1 through 8 can win it. And there's probably 4 or 5 teams out there that are disappointed they didn't get in.
So let's talk, Sean, about this bracket here. What do you kind of see? By the way, congratulations on the number 1 seed.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Our boys are pumped. They were having a watch party tonight, and they're excited to get in. And we play a tough Santa Fe team. Coach Cole, you talk about one of the class acts of this state in coaching, boys and girls side. Great family man, too. Daughters, sons, and his wife. Just great people. And I know they'll be prepared, and we're going to be prepared, so it'll be fun. But when I really look at that 4-5 matchup with Sandia and Atrisco, that game really excites me because Danny Brown going against Adrian Ortega, you talk about a true chess match and 2 teams that match up very similar to each other. That's going to be a fun game to watch.
Sebastian?
Well, what stands out there is that 7-2 with Carlsbad and Roswell. I'm just going to go on the record and say a lot of the coaches I talked to in town, they were really looking forward to maybe traveling and playing Carlsbad or Roswell. So the way it matched up, the 2 in-town teams ended up getting each other. And you know what? Let's talk about that for a minute because Sandia right now, I don't know if anyone's playing a more dominant style than Sean Johnson right now. So that's a guy that could take a team on his back all the way like Cormier did a couple of years ago. Atrisco, this is just the time of the year you don't want to play Adrian's boys. It's that simple. And for them to get each other in the first round, that's a bit unfortunate for those 2. And Las Cruces, the number 3, we've seen this before, right, where they had a perfect season. Listen, I get the argument. And I think I might even believe it. When you're the defending champ and you haven't lost since, maybe you deserve a little more, right? But the criteria is what it is.
You know, I think, and this is something Coach Benjamin's good at. He's going to use this, and his boys will be ready to make a run, regardless of, as coaches, the numbers don't mean anything to us anymore.
That's right.
You just put the name in front of you, you prepare for the game in front of you. I think the numbers, honestly, are really for fans. I think that's what it's for media. I really do, even though the criteria is what it is, because when I look at that, I don't see any numbers. I see 8 great teams.
He looked at us when he said media.
Did
you see that? Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to make a point, Rich. The team that most benefited from that district wins against district champ category, Carlsbad. They beat Artesia, they beat Silver, and they beat Roswell. Obviously, Artesia and Silver, that's down a classification again, like we mentioned. So that pumped their max preps all the way up to a 4. And that was really the strength in their criteria was their max preps and that category, which is wins against district champs, even though they were lower district champs. Because you look at the last coaches poll that you guys put out, they were all the way in the others receiving votes category.
Right. You know, Sean, let's talk a little bit about the Cleveland Storm really quick. And again, congratulations. You know, tell us about this year's squad, man.
And this is a group of boys and our senior boys that come around once in a lifetime for you as a head coach. And obviously a lot of our kids are multi-sport. They just played in football and won a 6A championship in football. You talk about a team that were very deep. Trey Watson, Nate Hasbury, and Evan Gonzalez, that's our 3 started horses, like you guys were mentioning earlier about Norton Lordy and those 3. We got 3 guys. And then we got
I'll take my man Diego Sharp. He'll shut down those other 3 guys.
Yeah.
I bet he does in practice, doesn't he? Because he can go.
He gets after it. And you have Antonio Avila, who's a stud, too. You have Jeff Davison, who we moved into the starting point guard the last 2 games, and he has 14 assists in 2 games. We got Lucas Lovato, who's been coming off the bench and being our 3rd leading scorer. So we got a team that's deep. We got a team that's committed to each other. And at the end of the day, they don't care who scores. They just want to have a win at the end of the day. And I'm fortunate to be their coach.
You know, obviously you never look ahead, but your Cruces, I want to kind of piggyback on what Richard was saying. They got a couple things going for them. One, William's going to use this as a major motivating tool, right? Hey, they're not respecting us again. That's the card he always plays, but it works. That's why he plays it. 2, they have the best player in the state, Deuce Benjamin. That's a good starting point, right? So I love that you guys are still on the opposite side of the bracket, right? That's the matchup everyone's been talking about, but there's 8 really good teams on that screen. I go back to what I said in the opening. If this was a regular year, every one of these teams is good enough to have a home game.
Every one of the, plus the ones that aren't on there, like you said. Okay, we're going to step aside and take a break. We come back more. We have a couple of more guests. William Benjamin is standing by. Lisa Villarreal is standing by. Coach, good luck to you, man.
Appreciate you guys.
Thank you very much. Good luck to the Storm. Thank you for watching. We're going to come right back with more right after this.
High school sports are back. You can watch every ProView Network broadcast online on the NFHS network. Every moment from every game, from every sport, including all NMAA state championship games. Get your monthly pass now. Just go to ProViewNetworks.com, click on the NFHS logo, and sign up today. Watch Mexico's best.
Your surprisingly great rates? Contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
A rogue virus, no jobs, sky-high tuition debt. Life is trying to put our generation on the sidelines. But we refuse to just sit back and watch it pass us by. Instead, watch us fly ahead. Watch us overcome anything. Watch us rise. Watch us change our world. Watch us become the next greatest generation.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number 1. Cover it with green stuff, 1 scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network. Extreme Clean is a proud sponsor and supporter of ProView Networks and all high school sports athletics. Owner Mike McLean and Extreme Clean specialize in carpet cleaning for apartment, realty, business, and residential clients. With over 20 years experience, attention to detail and quality customer service matters. For more information, give them a call, 505-221-6440, Extreme Clean.
Hi, I'm Staff Sergeant Hayes. I'm with the New Mexico Army National Guard, and I'm from Tucson, Arizona.
Hi, I'm Staff Sergeant Greg Martinez. I'm with the New Mexico Army National Guard, and I'm from Santa Fe, New Mexico.
Hi, I'm Marilena Fernandez. I'm with the New Mexico Army National Guard, and I'm from Santa Fe, New Mexico.
The New Mexico Army National Guard is a proud supporter of New Mexico high school athletics.
Calling all football players, are you looking to develop your skills this season? It's never too late or too early to put in the work. Coach Carl Barrere and the Air Barrere program at 8 Grady's Performance Center provide comprehensive position training for aspiring football players at all levels. Whether you're looking to increase your speed, gain strength, or hone your skill, we train all positions with a team of experienced coaches who know what it takes to succeed at all levels from Yaffle to college. Check us out at 8gradys.com to learn more and sign up for training today.
Jackson Compaction wants to help you keep your green. And keep the community green as well. Jackson Compaction has worked hard to maintain the same prices since day one. Always easy and painless trash removal with professional crews and quality service. If it's non-hazardous waste, debris, or trash on your land, leave it to us. At Jackson Compaction, we're dedicated to ensuring the conservation of our environment. You trash it, we smash it. Jackson Compaction, we've earned a reputation for great results.
TurboThreads is a proud sponsor of ProView Networks.
Almost 30 years of experience means fast service, great prices, and a wide selection of apparel from t-shirts to performance sports shirts, even jackets and hats. They feature low minimums and no setup charges on most orders. TurboThreads is located at 1503 Golf Course Road in Rio Rancho, or find them on Facebook, online at turbothreads.com, or call 999-1234 for TurboThreads.
Are you sure we're supposed to be doing this?
Don't worry, I've watched him do it 1,000 times. Come on, what's the worst that can happen?
No! Bad dog! Hi, welcome to Car Crafters. What happened? Don't worry, we'll make it like it never happened.
Car Crafters, it's like it never.
Drive, Jeff Symbieta, JJ Buck, Micah. Josh produces for you today over on the ProView Network side, where you can watch the show worldwide on ProViewNetworks.com or statewide at Comcast Channel 26.
Hey, welcome to the Steve Davis Show.
Good morning and welcome to Sports Desk Live on Comcast Channel 26.
Welcome to The Point with Nick Rich.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to episode 10, America Talking Out.
I'm Pastor Flora Padilla of Mending Broken Hearts.
Welcome to Henry T. Game Face Live, Comcast 26, and Big Bad ProView Network.
Often imitated, never duplicated. Welcome to Local Focus with Sebastian Noel.
Welcome, sports fans. It's that time of the week again. You are watching the Weekly Rundown.
Hey, welcome to Red Menace TV here on ProView Network.
Hello, I'm Steve Davis. You are watching Public Access TV.
For your business or your home, Valley Fence stands alone. We're number one in New Mexico for a reason. It's the best fence you can own. Proudly serving New Mexico for over 50 years. At Valley Fence, the difference is clear. No fence too big, too small, or difficult. We handle them all at Valley Fence Company.
Okay, we're back. Welcome back, everybody, to the ProView bracket breakdown.
Is it true that we had to wait till after 10 to get William Benjamin on?
William Benjamin is the head coach at Las Cruces High School is with us, and we've been talking during the break to Coach Benjamin. Coach, we're sorry to keep you awake so late, man, but thank you for joining us, and thank you for staying with us, man. How things going down in Cruces?
Man, sleep is for dreamers. I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. I'm doing great, man. Everybody, everybody's real blessed, man. I'm blessed, so I'm doing good, man.
Well, it's like I always say, man, you do one amazing job. You've done an amazing job with the Bulldogs to take over that program, man. Props to you and all that good stuff that you got going on there. But let's just get straight to the bracket, Coach. Before we put it up, you've already seen the bracket. You've already seen it. We know that. You and I had a little talk about it before. But let's just talk for a minute about your matchup first, and then we'll talk about the rest of the bracket.
Man, we're matched up against Los Lunas. Coach Julian is one of the best coaches in the state of New Mexico. It's going to be a very difficult task. The only advantage we have is that we're playing at home, in which that doesn't matter when you're talking about playing against a Coach Julian team. His defense is one of the best every year. He has one of the best defensive schemes on every team every year. So whatever it is that we planning to do, he's going to be ready for it. So this is a very tough draw, and it is what it is. So we're going to have to prepare and get ready for Los Lunas, and hopefully we can just compete and see what happens.
The good part, Coach, as you said, is you're at home. And of course, in a year such as this, which it doesn't make sense. We know that, but you at least have the opportunity to play a state tournament game at home. And that's got to mean something. Like you said, against a coach like Travis, I agree with you. Man, he has a way of getting his teams ready to play some pretty hardcore defense on you. I mean, he can really light up the place when it comes to defense. But playing at home does give you that slight edge, you think?
Yeah, I mean, you always want to, it's always better than traveling, especially for us because we got to travel, we got to travel north. So for them, for us to be blessed to get a 3 seed, and get a home game, we're very fortunate at 12-0 to get a home game. So we have to prepare, we have to prepare the way we have to prepare, and we know Coach Julian. I know Coach Julian's gonna come with it, So this is very difficult. This is very difficult at a 3 seed. This is very difficult. So we'll see what happens. But much love, much respect to Coach Julian. I already know he's coming up here, prepared, and he's gonna give it to you. He's gonna come up here and try and give it to us, like he should.
Let's talk about the Las Cruces Bulldogs, Coach. Tell us a bit about this team you got going on this year.
We're not that good. We're only 12-0. What do you want me to say? What do you want me to say? We're not that good. We're not that good. Our district sucks. Okay, our district sucks. We're 12-0. Alamo couldn't get in. They 10-2. Alamo didn't have a chance of getting in. If we can't get a 1 seed at 12-0, they didn't have a chance. So what do you want to know about Las Cruces Bulldogs? What do you want to know? You tell me.
Well, I just want to know how this year's team, to go 12-0, that says a lot. Under the conditions at every school.
Tell Ed to stop laughing. Tell Ed to stop laughing, man. Tell Ed to stop laughing, man. Tell Sebastian to stop smiling, man. Come on, man. We got to be professional here, man.
You've already answered every question Sebastian had for you, man. I mean, you've already taken care of it, man. But I know you guys are 12-0. I know let's just put it out there, Coach. You know, I got your back on this. You're not happy about 3. You know,
No, with the 3. Look, man. Look, you know, this is all laughs and giggles, man. Look, a year ago we weren't coaching. You know, a year ago we wasn't coaching. A year ago we wasn't playing. We all are truly blessed to even have a state tournament. That's the reality of it, man. So it's all, you know, so it's all love and it's all beautiful. You know what I mean? So we're very fortunate, all of us in the state of New Mexico, to even be talking about basketball right now. It's been a year since I've been able to even practice with my guys, let alone put on a uniform. You know what I mean? And sit on the sidelines and hear the squeak of the shoes and the bounce of the ball. You know what I mean? So you know, so to put it all in its perspective, we are all truly blessed to be playing the game. With that said, we are 12-0. We won our district. We did what we were supposed to do. You know, we shouldn't be penalized by a damn algorithm from Max Preps who don't know the difference between Las Cruces High School and Hatch. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. Like, you know, that's not cool. Everyone in the state of New Mexico knows that we have a program, whether we're playing in our district or whether we're coming up playing non-district games against teams up north, or if we go further to the east side and playing teams over there. So for us to be 12-0 in our district and play against teams that everyone wants to knock us off, that game against our 2 games against Alamogordo were great basketball games. Those are great high school basketball games. Our district doesn't suck. We have good teams in our district. We just happen to come on top. You know what I'm saying? And that's a credit to our kids. That's a credit to our program. That's a credit to our school. You know, and it ain't no knock on none of our teams, you know. But, you know, it is what it is, and that's how it always is, you know. So we got to deal with it. So don't say Coach Sebastian, don't say Coach Benjamin's going to use this. You guys make it. It ain't something I got to use. It's something that always happens. Like, it's the reality of what really happens. It ain't something that I got to use. We can go 11-1, 10-2, 12-0, and we ain't gonna be no number 1 seed, even if Cleveland loses 2 games, even if a team up north loses 2 games. Like, that's the reality of it, of the situation. That's just the reality of the situation. So, you know, we got to deal with it. You know, we got to deal with it. But we got a good team. I mean, we got a good team. I got a 6'10" who can hoop, who can block shots, runs the court like a deer, plays very good on both sides of the court. I got a point guard that I think is if not the best, is one of the best. But somebody said he ain't even top 5 in the state of New Mexico. He averaging 28 points a game, 6 assists, and 7 rebounds, and he ain't top 5 in the state of New Mexico. Really? What are we talking about here? I got Caden Self who's getting me 11 points and 6 boards. You know, we got a good team, man. We got a good team. So we just gonna prepare for Los Lunas like we do, and hopefully we can get through, because basically we're gonna be playing southern teams anyway, eastern teams anyway. So hopefully we can make it through, maybe get up north and maybe make some noise. If not, you know, we still went 12-0 in district and won it. So either way, it's a good season because we're getting to play basketball. That's all.
Last question for you, Coach. We have to bracket up really quick. You know, I just wanted to get your input on the entire bracket and what you kind of thought about some of these teams. What do you think?
Man, everybody, you know, when you're only talking about 8 teams, you know, it's hard to make a 16-team bracket, let alone an 8. You know, La Cueva's right there. I thought they deserved the right to get in. I understand Carlsbad really did a good job in their district coming in second when you're talking about Hobbs, Clovis. But I thought Alamo going 10-2. I thought they deserved an opportunity. I really thought they deserved an opportunity. But you can't knock the fact that Santa Fe got in, because they're in a tough district too when you're playing Capital and you're playing Los Lunas. Sandia, Atrisco is a no-brainer, but I thought them at a 4. I thought Atrisco honestly should have been a 3 or a 2. You know, I mean, Sandia at a 5, Roswell at a 2. They did win their district, you know, but you know, they win their district, they get a 2 seed. I go undefeated in mine and I get a 3. What's up with that? No disrespect to Roswell at all. No disrespect to Roswell at all. You know, but it is what it is. Like I said, it is what it is. So we deal with the reality. We don't deal with what it is that we want. You know, you can want a lot of stuff and you ain't gonna get it. You got to deal with the reality of what it is. So we'll deal with what it is. Stay up all night and watch film on Los Lunas. Have practice on Sunday. See if we can prepare for Julian, because I know he's gonna have some. I know he's gonna have some crap. He gonna throw some crap, crap at us, man, on that defensive side. You know what? I love how Coach Julian's defense. Every year, it doesn't matter who he has, his defensive philosophy stays the same, and they execute that stuff to the fullest, man. So man, it's a tough ass draw. It's a tough ass draw, but we're gonna deal with it, and we're gonna see what we do.
Well, Coach, we want to thank you for coming on, man. You made our night. You really made our night.
And I ain't trying. Hey, man, Sebastian over there, quiet as hell. Say something, big man.
I'm gonna respond.
Say something, man. You ain't said nothing, man. Hey, I watch your shows all the time. I know damn well you know how to talk. Say something.
All right. Well, okay. So let me respond to a couple of things Coach Benjamin said. Okay. First of all, he said the only advantage he has is it's a home game, right?
Right.
No, the advantage he has is that he has the best player in the state on his basketball team. That's an advantage. Okay, added to the home court, right? So, and then let's compare Roswell to Las Cruces. The max preps was higher at Roswell. For what reason? And we talked about it earlier. They were rewarded. A 5A team was rewarded for beating Nimi and for beating Artesia. And that's the reason Roswell is, in my opinion, overseeded in this tournament.
Coach, but why are we listening? But why are we listening to a max prep?
Go ahead. Coach, the answer to Sebastian back.
Well, Ed Nunez had a question for you, Coach.
Now,
Man,
Coach, going back to last year, you're 12-0 this season and 3 wins last season, so really 15 wins in a row for Las Cruces. You're the defending champs. I get a little bit about being upset out in Bordeaux. The second game with you was 56-52. The second game was closer. So I get your point about Alamogordo, and I think you're not wrong about Las Lunas, because when they played Santa Fe a couple weeks ago, they lost by 20 up at Santa Fe, and then they turned around and the pack line defense, they limited Garcia and Martinez, and Lovato's post touches just put him off a little bit off balance, so he couldn't hit those shots he normally does. So your points are well taken, but it's not as if the Las Cruces cupboard is empty, sir. We know that. Right?
Hey, man, you ever look in your cupboard and you had stuff growing up that you know you wasn't going to eat? You know what I'm saying? Like, your mama's like,
here's the bottom line.
With all that stuff that you probably should be eating, but you didn't want to eat. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I know. Ain't nobody going to cry for us at Las Cruces High School. I don't want no pity party, and I don't want no sympathy. I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying. I mean, damn, we go 12-0. I mean, we go 12-0. We go 12-0, man. Like, we're the only undefeated team in 5A, and we're a 3 seed. I mean, damn, man. Can I get a 2?
You got to play Nimi, Coach. You have to play Nimi if you wanted to. You got to play Nimi if you wanted to.
No, I mean, I get that. I mean, I get the whole max prep computer algorithm. I get all that. I totally get all that. But you know, when we're just talking about, you know, just common sense, if we're just talking about common sense, I mean, damn, man, come on.
Here's the thing, and Coach is right. It's common sense. You haven't lost the game since you lifted the trophy last time. You got the best player in the state, and it doesn't matter what the number in front of you is, because anybody that knows basketball knows that's the team to beat. When you lift the trophy and you haven't lost the game since, you're the team to beat going into the tournament.
Right, Coach?
Sebastian, that's very well said, Sebastian. Thank you very much, my California. I appreciate that, man. How you cleaning that up, my man. Hey, man, I love you guys, man. What you guys do for high school sports is beautiful. I'm just coming on here giving you a hard time, man. You know, it's 2 seed, 3 seed, 8 seed, man. Coach Ortega said it best, man. He gonna go play anywhere, anybody, because we're just blessed to be playing basketball, man. So I'm just giving you guys a hard time, man. It's all love, man. Ed knows it's all love, you know. I just sent him a goddamn Aggie picture of an Aggie guy on his phone, man.
Coach, I'm an Aggie fan, man.
I know you are. Ed's not. That's the problem. Ed's not. Ed's a straight Lobo.
I am.
We talking Michael Cooper Lobo. Like, Ed's like old school. I love that guy. He's like Lobo. Lobo threw up. He probably turned into a wolf at night after 12 or something like that. And he's straight Lobo, man. He's straight Lobo.
Getting off the rail.
Hey, Coach. Coach, I'm a Highlands Cowboy and a Mexico State fan and a UCLA Bruin fan. I'll tell you the truth. Hey, man, we got to run, man, but I want to thank you for coming on, man. You're the best. We wish you nothing but luck, bro. God bless you, man.
Peace. Take care.
Thank you. We're going to take a break. We'll come right back.
Drive, Jeff Indiana, JJ Buck, Micah. Josh produces for you today over on the ProView Network side, where you can watch the show worldwide on ProViewNetworks.com or statewide at Comcast Channel 26.
Hey, welcome to the Steve Davis Show.
Good morning. Welcome to Sports Desk Live on Comcast Channel 26.
Welcome to The Point with Nick Rich.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to episode 10, America Talking Out.
I'm Pastor Flora Padilla of Mending Broken Hearts.
Welcome to Henry T. Game Face Live, Comcast 26, and Big Bad ProView Network.
Often imitated, never duplicated. Welcome to Local Focus with Sebastian Noel.
Welcome, sports fans. It's that time of the week again. You are watching the Weekly Rundown.
Hey, welcome to Red Menace TV here on ProView Network.
Hello, I'm Steve Davis. You are watching Public Access TV.
For your business or your home, Valley Fence stands alone. We're number one in New Mexico for a reason. It's the best fence you can own. Proudly serving New Mexico for over 50 years. At Valley Fence, the difference is clear. No fence too big, too small, or difficult. We handle them all at Valley Fence Company.
Clark's Pet Emporium, your pet's second best friend. Visit clarkspet.com.
Dream Style Roofing tops them all. When your roof's worn out and needs to be replaced, we're gonna do it right, put a smile on your face. They're at home, things are looking up when you get your roof done by someone you can trust. Dream Style, a company name that's been around forever. No one does it better. You need a new roof, you know who to call. Dream Style Roofing tops them all.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
High school sports are back. You can watch every ProView Network broadcast online on the NFHS network. Every moment from every game from every sport, including all NMAA state championship games. Get your monthly pass now. Just go to ProViewNetworks.com, click on the NFHS logo, and sign up today. Watch New Mexico's best.
Well, we're still recovering from William Benjamin.
That's why we had to get him in after 10:30, right?
Yeah,
After 10:30.
We hope the children were asleep. That's all we hope.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Thank you, Coach Benjamin. And we wish you and all the teams the best of luck, but thank you. Anyway, then we're going to go through the brackets one last time before we wrap things up. We're going to start with the boys. Let's take a look again at the 5A. You see the matchups. Sebastian, we'll go to you first.
Well, I'm just going to go through them all real quick. Cleveland, Santa Fe. It's a great matchup right there. I mean, I think Cleveland, they have so many weapons. I'm glad Santa Fe got into this tournament. I think they're one of the best 8 teams in the state. That'll be an interesting matchup, Coach Cole has won with all kinds of teams, you go back to his Ramona Bulldogs days when he had like 8 guys that were over 6 feet tall. Then he comes here to New Mexico and he starts winning with guards. I mean, it wouldn't be the craziest thing, right? 5-4, I just really wish these guys weren't playing each other because those are 2 teams that could both make a run all the way to the title. Cruces Los Lunas, I think that's going to be all right. That's going to be a low-scoring, grinded-out game, man. That is going to be fun to watch. And then Carlsbad and Roswell, I think Roswell got a favorable draw there. I think they can beat. But Carlsbad's been playing well, man. Right. Coach Zumbro's got them playing well.
Ed?
Cleveland, Santa Fe, I thought, again, that is a good matchup. And Zach Cole, LaCueva left out of that and Santa Fe gets in. But they've got some good guards and Martinez and Garcia and P.J. Lovato. And let's remember, Martinez and Garcia are championship tested. Remember that. They've got some championship experience. So I think Cleveland should come out of that. Sebastian mentioned Hasbury, Watson, Avila. I really like him. He's a very good shooter. Probably should get more looks. Evan Gonzalez, a good guard. I've got Cleveland coming out of that. Zach Holt in Santa Fe is tough, but I think Cleveland should come out of that one. Coach Benjamin's not wrong about Las Lunas and Travis Julian. Remember Travis Julian, also the former head man at Monzano. He's a great defensive coach, and he showed me that in Las Lunas about a week ago when they totally shut down Santa Fe. They had lost by 20 points, and then they shut them out. The pack line defense, Ezra Guest, Jalen Holland, the 8th grader. They've got some really tough ball players. Josiah Navarro had about 7 threes that night. He was our player of the game. So I think that's a tough first-round draw. It really is. And Coach Benjamin is not kidding when he said he's probably going to go watch film immediately after that. I guarantee he is. But Will Benjamin, again, he's going to underplay things. And I love Coach. We all do. He's a great guy. Remember, they won 3 championships there at Las Cruces, 15 wins in a row. He's a great coach in himself. He gives everybody else credit, but how good is he? You know, the former Aggie great, one of the greatest Aggies we ever saw. So that's going to be a tough matchup. There's no question about it. But I've still got Cruces coming out of that. I think Sebastian's right about that with Sandia and Atrisco Heritage. They're both trending upward. Sandia 7 in a row. Atrisco Heritage last lost on April 6th. And since then, they've won 5 in a row. And I mean, some tough. And Adrian Ortega, 2 championships, right? He knows what it's like to be in championship tournament mode. Carlsbad and Roswell, it's a tough matchup. I've got Roswell coming out of that one.
4A boys.
Ed? I think, again, Del Norte is #1 seed. Sebastian brought that up the first time since Scott Banforth, and I remember that. Gosh, what a tough team they had. Well earned. That's going to be a tough matchup for Highland. Gallup and Bernalillo, that's going to be one of them slug it out, grind it out games. That's going to be a good game. That's going to be a good one. I think there's some great matchups, and I wanted to mention again, Gabe Martinez, what a great job he's done at Espanola Valley. Artesia, they've had some good wins in their class. And again, Silver's had some good wins too, though. So that's going to be a tough matchup there, but I think Del Norte comes out of there. And on the other side, I'm going to say Bernalillo comes out of that. So we'll see what happens.
I think you're going to get a district matchup in the championship there. Del Norte against Bernalillo. And for the first, not Daniel Santiago couldn't do it. Scotty Bamforth couldn't do it. But I really think this bracket is going to end the right way, the night way.
The night way.
The night way.
3A boys. Let's go to that. Of course, we had this one. Start with you this time, Sebastian.
I've had a chance to see Robertson on a couple of streams, and they look good. So I really wish that Robertson and Sandia Prep were not on the same side of the bracket, because I do think Sandia Prep is a really good basketball team, and I'm going to go ahead and pick a big upset in that bracket. I think Sandia Prep can go all the way. They have size. They have outside shooting. They're organized. They can play fast. They can play slow. They defend. There's not a lot of things that Sandia Prep isn't good at. I'm going to take Prep to win it all there.
Robertson is undefeated and playing well. Again, Manuel Romero, the former head man at Mora, has done a great job with them. They've earned that #1 seed as well. And I think I'm very partial to Coach Rivera. He coached at St. Pius, coached my son a little bit, and I really like him a lot. And Sebastian mentioned Cooper McWilliams, Sam Henderson, Jackson Fight. They do have some veteran players that have been battle-tested in the tournament and in the pit.
Mac Manzanares has been playing out of his mind.
The junior.
Lately.
He's playing very well. Now, the other team that don't sleep on is Hot Springs.
Yes.
They had a big Derek Bean does a great job over there, so don't sleep on Hot Springs either.
And Hot Springs, they've been playing a ton of games, right? So they're kind of in rhythm right now. You can't underestimate that.
Okay, let's go to the 2A bracket. Here we go, Seabass.
Pecos at the #3. It's hard to go against Pecos. I think if you want a sleeper in this, Texaco at 7.
Ooh, love it. Ed?
I think, Pecos, all things come to an end, right? Pecos has won 4 in a row. They're still probably the overall prohibitive favorite, although Rehoboth Christian has the #1 seed. I'm going to say it's going to be Rehoboth Christian coming out of there. And it's just throwing the dart, just because I think all championships come to an end.
And the 1A bracket. Gentlemen? Yes. There we go. And let's start with you.
You know what, Melrose, I told you, Trace Jackson, Sorgan, Kevin Lackey's a good coach. Magdalena, I mentioned, Jordan Maribal, 28 points a game, coached by Joey Maribal. I still got to go with Melrose. I got to go with Melrose.
I don't know what Magdalena's enrollment numbers look like, but that's a really good team to go back to go down to 1A. But I'm going to go with the sentimental favorite here, and they've had a lot of kind of adversity in the community this year. I'm going to go with Springer, the Red Devils.
Got it. We have the girls. We're going to take a very quick break. We're going to come right back. Coming up, the girls' brackets.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Richard's right back with you, JJ Buck, the voice of the UNM Lady Lobos. We're going to break down the girls' brackets. We're starting right now with the Class 5A. JJ, take it away.
Yeah, 5A is going to be fascinating because, of course, you have Hobbs, the #1 seed. They've had a fantastic season. You look at the 10 victories, they're plus 39 points per game. That is just insane. But then you have the addition of Las Lunas that won 3 straight state titles in 4A, and I absolutely love this Tigers team. I got a chance to see them last night in person against Albuquerque High, and they have 2 senior guards, Mia Guest, Duda Hohola, that are fantastic. They're going to be playing basketball at the next level, and when they lost to Hobbs open the season, they got beat handily in that contest. But I will say, half the team played a volleyball game that morning, and then they went to Hobbs to play the basketball game. So if they made up a second time around, it is going to be a fantastic matchup.
And never sleep on Marty Zeller. Do not sleep on Marty Zeller. That's all we're going to say. Let's go to the 4A girls. What you got?
Yeah, and looking at 4A, seeing what Portales has done this season is fantastic. They're a basketball team that's scoring 54 points per game, 9-1 overall. They're 6-0 in their district, and they had a good Goddard team that they held off and beat twice, which really helped them. But your eyes immediately go to Highland as a 5, and you just wonder what happened there, because at the beginning of the week in the coaches poll, Highland was #1, and they didn't lose a game. They finished the season 8-0 in district, 9-1 overall. But being a 5, that's a tough matchup for them. But it's something I think is going to put a chip on their shoulder going into this tournament for sure. And Gallup, the tradition, each and every year they're going to be ready to go. So that should be a fantastic matchup. And this is really the first one when we were going through all the brackets is where you had your kind of, there was, St. Pius or Hope Christian, who was going to get in and get an at-large seed. And it was St. Pius who was 7-2 overall, 5-2 in district. But Hope, the thing that I thought would get them in is they split with Bernalillo. Bernalillo ended up being the district champs, but St. Pius in, and they got a tough matchup against Espanola Valley.
Let's go to the 3A bracket really quick. Let's break that one down as well. JJ's ready. Go ahead, my man.
Yeah, and you just, Navajo Prep being the 1 seed, scoring 73 points per game. And this has been a weird year, especially when you get into lower classifications. There were a lot of small schools that didn't play it, but Navajo Prep played 11 games. They played 10 district games, and they were plus 40 points per game in those contests. So they have a bunch of girls that can score the basketball. But then you look at the challenge that you could see from West Las Vegas as well. And then Hatch Valley is one that really does intrigue me. and seeing what they have done this season, being 11-1 overall. But I think 3A is going to be a lot of fun because Navajo Prep was challenged by 2 other teams in the bracket, Tahachi and Thoro. So, yeah, this is going to be a blast, 3A girls.
Class 2A.
Pecos Panthers. That's what jumps out right away. 11-0, outscoring opponents by 33 points per game this season. And then I go to Tatum and Escalante. The Lady Lobos there, scoring 59 points per game. So that's the second most points of any team other than Pecos. So if you start looking ahead, a team that might be able to score with the Panthers would be Escalante. But Tatum, undefeated. They always have solid teams, especially defensively at Tatum. And you look at only giving up 19 points per game. And this is tough, too, when we're judging district play, the teams that are available. But when you have a coach in Craig Slover that's been there, done that, a program that consistently produces, that should be a fantastic matchup.
And lastly, the girls' single A bracket.
Yeah, and looking at 1A, the interest here is, of course, people are going to gravitate towards Melrose, the 2020 state champs, of course, being a 3 seed, Roy Mosquero up there at the top. Alamo, Navajo, Animas, really good 5-4 matchup between those two teams. When you look at the Cougars of Alamo, Navajo, scoring 47 points per game. They went 2-0 versus Magdalena, 1-1 against the Mountaineers in what was a tight district. District 3 was really tough, so this should be a lot of fun.
Well, did you have fun?
I had a blast. I cannot wait for next week.
It starts on Monday. By the way, really quick. The way the brackets are shaped up are this. Class 1A will play Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. At higher seed the first 2 days, Thursday championship. Classes 2A and 3A will play Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Higher seed except for the championship game on Friday, which will be in Albuquerque. Classes 4A and 5A will play Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. Higher seed except on Saturday, that will be played in Albuquerque. So I want to thank all our guests. I want to thank everybody for watching, man. I hope it was a lot of fun for you. It was a lot of fun for us. I'm Richard Tripp. Peace, everybody. Mercy. We're out.
Looks like Lauren McKinley with the ball right there, just into the game. Banks one off the window.
Lovato spins. Lovato going to get all the way to the basket over Gilliford. It's the ball handler. Lovato's so good he only needs one shoe. Seiss just picked his pocket. Transition and one on a strong finish for Gabe Seiss.
Smack that one to center field. This one's going. It's going. And that is home run for Kiana King. For today, 2 games, 4 official at-bats. She has 4 home runs. King adding more to the board.
Back to Stanridge. Stanridge going to go strong. No, look, underneath. Beautiful pass there to Ethan Chavez. Mallory's free throw's no good. Offensive rebound for Ayers, and he beats the horn. Exodus Ayers steals the offensive board, and he beats the buzzer, and we got a 1-point game here. District on the line at Sandia. It's halftime here on ProView Network. Look at the camera.
Yeah!